take too much time. We'll rifle through this really quickly and give you guys an early lunch break. What we're trying to do is just walk through the 24 entities that'll be coming tomorrow and day after, and just go through all the companies, tell you what they do and why they're excited to be building on our chain. We're going to spend, call it 30 to 45 seconds on each one. Before we dive into them in any detail, I will say that there were 2 points of feedback that were universal from all 24 of them, or feedback or questions. One is, what does the timeline look like? And Meta, you'll probably have 100% attendance for that meeting. And the second thing was, what does it cost? Because many of these applications, as you'll see, are extremely high volume and of the, call it, microfinance sort. And so with that, I'll hand it over to Lee and Kevin, I think Kevin's covering the first few ones, and we'll just go in order really fast.
All right, so the first one is Shop, which is a decentralized e-commerce platform that basically allows consumers to take back their data. They presented at the governance forum for those of you who are there. They are basically, they've come out with their first marketplace, and you could sign up for that, but they will be building on our chain. We'll have a product at Mercury that allows you to basically earn tokens if you would like to give brands your data, and if you don't, you don't have to. Expansive, David Otto presented this one at the governance forum as well. Expansive is about tracking of commodities, tracking of production and sale of commodities around the world. So many of us don't know that commodities have a lot of different features. Like one barrel of gas does not equal another, or barrel of oil does not equal another barrel of oil in terms of how it was produced, where it comes from, that kind of thing. And so Expansive is leveraging our chain to be able to kind of track that globally for a bunch of different types of commodities. Blockchain at Berkeley is a partnership that we formed with the Blockchain at Berkeley team in order to get them helping to educate people on Rolang and building on our chain, and they are helping with a bunch of our portfolio companies around tokenization and econometrics and things like that, as well as marketing and that kind of thing.
SweetBridge is a company currently, it's going through a fundraising round now, and so this is why we're involved. But they're looking at creating a more liquid economy around supply chains, and so thinking about how you push value further out into the supply chain between where the value is created and the end consumer. And so if you think about sort of supply chains and the lack of transparency, what you end up having is a distributor who ends up accruing all of the value in the supply chain.
Thanks. And so the next one's Govern. Govern's a governance protocol, basically, that will be, some of their first applications will be helping us to understand how we govern within the co-op. And we'll be making more announcements about what they're doing there. They're based in Seattle as well. Open Platform is right now working with a few other currencies, but it's basically a Stripe-like API to be able to accept tokens and other digital currencies on kind of real-world applications, if you will. Witnet is a decentralized Oracle network trying to solve the Oracle problem of using off-chain data on-chain or cross-chain data. So being able to utilize tokens from Ethereum on our chain and being able to being able to understand what's happening outside of the chain. NetVote is another kind of governance platform. It's a voting platform. They've made a couple interesting strategic relationships in terms of trying to first attack shareholder voting and how that works within corporations, and how your voting can be private but verifiable. There's a couple of good talks on that at the Governance Forum, and these guys have a pretty interesting solution for how you can be both private but be able to see that your vote was counted and counted correctly. And last is ACX Network, which is another sort of decentralized governance platform that looks at building financial inclusion solutions in West Africa specifically. So they right now have a network of money transfer agents of about 300 agents and 17,000 customers, and they'll be implementing Archain as a governance mechanism and a way that their token can move around and interact with people there.
Yeah, I'll get the next few. Reshore is a micro insurance platform. They're looking to insure episodic things such as an Uber ride, an Airbnb stay. If you want to insure against, call it the deductible if you want to go play tennis in case you break a leg, you don't want to pay for the ambulance fee. They want to do that. What's really great about this is they're actually partnered with existing insurance companies because insurance companies just want to get as much product as they can. And so they're basically going to be responsible for the offer design and the token economics, extremely large total addressable market. Kogel is trying to build a data science and research platform for the asset management industry. So a little background on why this is important. Asset managers spend about $40 to $50 billion a year just in North America on research. There are two big legal tailwinds that are going to happen in Europe and North America. And that is currently all of this research is bundled with brokerage fees and trading fees. Both Europe and North America are going towards a model where you have to actually pay for the research directly and it can't be bundled. And so that really opens up a $40 to $50 billion ecosystem that requires the piping for people to buy research from the sell side directly. Veryledger, very apropos today, given tomorrow's tax day, Veryledger wants to make the TurboTax for the cryptocurrency market. And founder Megan is actually in the room and a part of our co-op. Universe. Universe is a rebanking platform for countries such as Kenya, Sudan, parts of Southeast Asia, etc., where people don't have options for saving. So, their banking system only allows them to hold their own fiat. Their capital markets have, one or two stocks listed, so there's no real way to save. And so this is to create essentially a banking and saving system for those countries. For example, if you could give someone in Kenya the opportunity to put some of their money away in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that would be great. Turnt is based on the premise that the sharing economy has, affected cars, lodging, etc., but it's not really affected events. For example, if a chef wanted to, host a dinner and wanted to be able to charge participants to come to their house to try a new menu, there's no way you can do that. So Turnt is trying to make events, parties, etc., episodic, just like Uber and Airbnb have done for cars and houses. Pros Holdings, this is a $1.2 billion market cap company that I've had a long-time relationship with. They were part of my portfolio at my previous hedge fund. If you've bought a ticket online, airline ticket, there's an 85% chance that it was priced by Pros Holdings. They have the world's most complicated data science and pricing platform. There's a lot of, they're very, very progressive technologically, and they want to start building on the blockchain. So we're trying to have a partnership with them. Their senior software architect will be there. If anyone has any questions for him on that. Augmate is my last one before I hand it over to Kevin. So they want to be the world leader in managing wearables and the Internet of Things. So as you can guess, this is an extremely high velocity multi-transaction platform. They're currently agnostic to which blockchain they're going to build on. They're looking for something that's extremely high performance and not too expensive. And hopefully we can convince them to go our way. That's all I have, Kevin.
Thank you. So I'll discuss the remainder on this list here. So Hire Free Hands is a decentralized workplace for freelancers and clients. They're based out of Nigeria. They're using a novel way of negotiating price, sort of similar to the way that Uber does for the driver and the rider. But they're also incorporating a dispute resolution system using tokenomics. And so they're using a sort of decentralized jury system. So they have their participants act as the arbitrators for decisions or any sort of disputes. MarketStar is this is more gaming. It's an online prediction marketplace. And so what they're doing is using like a musician, for example, and then taking, their number of streams, their number of tweets or mentions or likes, and using that to create sort of like an index around an artist or an app or whatever it is. And users participate by sort of betting on sort of the performance of that index over the course of time. Fan Factor is actually a pretty cool project where they're thinking about decentralizing the fan experience. And so understanding esports and thinking about how popular gaming is, and allowing for decentralized ownership and also funding of campaigns that athletes and teams and leagues can get involved with together. Proof is a company that's coming up with a way to verify content. And so when you think about fake news and what's happening today, they're creating an ecosystem of validators that are going to be taking a look at all of the different content and then creating betting pools around proving out that the actual article content, whatever it is actually true. Mimir is a company that is thinking about decentralized blockchain as a service. And so if you think of Infura, but instead of centralized, one company owning it, it would then be a group of people running nodes to provide an API access for off-chain applications. And so thinking about, maybe if someone is, running a business and they want to use the blockchain for some component of their application, they would do an API call instead of, running a node themselves and maintaining the blockchain. Prism Group is actually a blockchain economics and governance design firm. And so they're going to be helping us with the token design and the crypto economics for some of these companies that are listed here. So we want to make sure that there's the actual incentive is structured properly so that there's actually a need for a token and not just sort of shoehorning it in as a solution. And then we have Crescent Crypto, which is actually thinking about being sort of like the vanguard for crypto. So thinking about a passive index fund. The relationship there is thinking about perhaps like an R-chain ecosystem index fund. And so having a bunch of companies that are on our platform and then assigning value to it. And so if one wanted to invest in the R-chain platform and the companies that are on it, one would have an easy way to do it. The reason why that's also very important is because Wall Street, the hedge funds, et cetera, the family offices, they're all very keen on investing and they have no idea. And the Crescent Crypto guys are former Goldman guys who were in wealth management and they're sort of like translating that for them. And so it's really important for companies like this to be in the space and really thinking about, how they do the analysis for all of these different assets the way that it's been done in the past. And I would say the same applies for Prism Group, which I mean, they're thinking about, they're actually people who have studied, economics and have thought about incentive design. And now is an opportunity to really incorporate that discipline into what we're doing. The final one is Adaptcore. Adaptcore is a ecosystem of the payers, the providers, and the patients. When you think about a healthcare ecosystem. And so all of the laws are really pushing for all of these things to be in alignment from an incentive perspective, right? So if the patients are more engaged or people are more engaged, then the cost of managing them goes down. And so there's a way to provide more visibility from patients to doctors, and having insurance companies provide lower premiums for patients that follow protocols. And so AdaptCore is using the blockchain in order to provide secure data flow. That's all that we have here. So if there are any questions, happy to take them now, or we're all here, for the rest of the week. So please stop by. Jake, you got one? Yeah. So some of these are paper deals. Some of them we're still in negotiation, but I'd be happy to give it to you. Anybody in this room directly, like this family? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we just don't want to violate any like NDA stuff, right? Like That's why I don't want to do any like wide distribution. But if anyone like wants a printout, sure,
we're happy to print it out.
Great work, guys.
Appreciate
Holy
it.
Smokes.
We're on the grind. We're trying.